squared away.
All right, so the SMU story that we discussed a little bit earlier today about the collective, the Boulevard Collective. So Texas Tech, and that was impressive, $25,000 for 85 scholarship players and also some walk-ons. Now SMU says $36,000, so you know what we're seeing here, right? So someone's got to do more than that, right?
Yep.
So are we going to get, we've seen where maybe, or at least reported, some have gotten six figures. Saban said that about Bryce Young a year ago, and we've heard all the other stories about either recruits or players. 25 to 36 in a matter of maybe a month. It's going to be 45, or it's going to be 60, it's going to be 100. Where's this? It's not going to end, is it? And
Well,
I'm not against it. But you just wonder how much it can go.
Is somebody going to have $8.5 million a year to pay everybody
$100,000
to give everybody $100,000?
Yeah, I think there's clearly a market for that.
But yeah,
it's who's desperate enough.
Yeah,
I think that it's part certainly helping athletes and doing the right thing by them and giving them opportunities. But I think it's also foolish to think that this isn't those same boosters from years and years ago that were giving Eric Dickerson, a Trans Am across the country, that were, holing up guys in hotel rooms the night before signing day, and all the other things that have happened that are just now out in the open that we just pretended didn't happen for the longest time. I don't think that's going away. I think if anything, it's clearly reignited SMU's fan base to be like, all right, we can pay now. Let's go pay. Let's go get ourselves in the Pac-12 or the Big 12. Let's go, balls to the wall here. And so, no, it's not going anywhere. It's just starting.
Yeah.
And I think to what extent you ask, I don't think we're going to get to the point where every dude's making at least, $1.4 million or, some NFL style situation, but I don't know how far off we're eventually going to be from that. I mean, clearly there's going to have to be a stopping point, because the colleges themselves are, I think the big issue, and we brought it up here a few times, and now I've seen it started to kind of circulate elsewhere, is when you need to fix that stadium, or you need to feel like you need to build something out. Like I go over to Baylor just a second ago, and their entire football parking lot is under construction because they're about to extend their outdoor practice fields, and they're going to extend extend the indoor practice field to 100 yards. Well, I mean, those projects are still going to pop up. So, when schools go to look for money for alums, and alums suddenly don't have $500,000 for that indoor extension because they spent $500,000 on your football team to pay players a certain amount per year, that's what's going to get really squirrely. And that's what there's going to have to be some hard decisions on for the program or for the player. You know what I mean? And I guess for the player it would still be for the program overall. But, yeah, money's going to run out at some point. Like, you can only pay so much or only have so much. And yeah, I think you're going to have to start getting into situations where it's like, do we do facilities or we put more on the payroll?
And the other thing is the market will shift and things will change. And it could be, a decade of people saying, look, we're going to pay for the players all we want. But if you realize, like, oh, well, we're paying for all these players and we've got diddly squat to show for it, then when do you stop? When do you say, like, okay, well, that's it, because it doesn't work? And that I think will be kind of a big shift altogether, because it'd be all these business people that are doing it going, wasn't worth it for pay for the recruits.
I asked
sunk a lot of money down people.
I asked a donor. It's a school in the Big 12. It's not well, so it's not Baylor, I'll tell you that. But I did talk to him. I said, so what happens? You pay $50,000, $100,000, whatever you do, you donate money, sometimes even more to whatever. What will you now do if you had to pick and choose? And he didn't know yet. He didn't say, I don't know that answer. He goes, but Texas will be here long after a lot of these players are gone.
Right.
So he wants to, if he's going to donate, he wants to donate to the history.
Sure.
Forever, not just somebody for 2, 3, or 4 years.
Yeah, you just want to chip in on Quinn Ewers for a quick buck, and then I guess people who have that luxury of having those decisions, I don't know what that's like.
No,
I'm not one of
either.
them. I'm not being asked to donate anything because I don't have anything to donate. So, that's a luxurious problem to have. That's definitely a first world problem. Is what do I spend my millions on? The players on the football team I love, or the facilities on the football team I love? So yeah, that's. What a problem to have. But I do wonder, like I said earlier, how much do you want to see that return on your investment? I think people who are pitching in at Texas Tech or Iowa State or whatever, Like, I think in Tech's case in particular, they feel that momentum, and they feel like they've got to capture it right now because this is as good as it's going to get unless Joey Maguire makes it even better, right? But there's also a chance that Joey Maguire's not the guy they think he is in 2, 3, 4, 5 years, and they've got to go. So they want to have it as good as it can possibly be, and they're going to support it. And SMU's doing that too. But if SMU is still sitting in the American Athletic Conference in 5 years, and there's no hope on the horizon for them to enter into whatever the landscape looks like at that point, whether it's a Power 2 or a Power 3 or no power at all, and it's whatever, is that still scratching your itch? Do you still want to pony that up if it's guaranteed you're only going to be playing, the American schools for a non-national do you know what I'm saying? Like, what do you want in return, I guess, is what you want. So
I still think it would be interesting to have somebody on, and I guess I don't think you have to do it anonymously, like one of those dark out interviews when they had the voices change. What are the details of NIL? I still don't know if anyone has ever said, Paul Catalina, I'm going to pay you $50,000 a year, which is, again, probably not much, but I'm going to pay you $50,000 a year. But it's contingent on you staying 4 years or you being a starter. You get a percentage if you're a starter, if you're injured. I don't know how that'll work.
Yeah, I don't know. And
if a player bolts after 1 year.
But they probably bolt because they know they can get it somewhere else, too.
These people who have the money, businesses or other, they're not idiots.
No.
Now, they can get their egos, ahead of them.
I would really like to just talk to John Ruiz and ask him, okay, so you've signed all these guys to sponsorship deals, especially the transfers they brought in, like Nigel Pack, right, in basketball. What if he sucks? Like, what do you do? How many guys would have to fall for you to realize this isn't, it wouldn't be worth it? Now, Nigel Pack's probably a good investment, right? You bring him in, you saw that. But how many recruits do you do? How many recruits are not worth it?
Yeah, I think that, again, luxurious problem to have for those involved. Yeah. I think, too, that those are smart business people for a reason, and they realize that not every investment is going to see a massive return. So, yeah, they might strike out and spend $500,000 on guys who don't end up making all that much of a difference, but if that eventual deal worth however much that's worth for that one guy that does make a difference does hit, well, that's all you were looking for to begin with. So you might strike out a little bit before you hit it big. But, yeah, if you continuously strike out, like, again, with the SMU example, one of the guys involved said, ready or not, the Pony Express 2.0 is coming, which I don't think that really strikes fear in anybody. But, certainly it's a statement, and SMU is going to play the game along with everybody else. Then we'll see how it goes. But if, again, like I said, 4 or 5 years from now, you've been paying everybody $36,000 per year for a $4 million total or what it is, we get down the road and you spent $20 million on roster payments alone. This guy's probably paying for other stuff too, but that's just alone, $20 million, and they're sitting in the American and have won one conference title. Was it worth it? I mean, that's up to the person whose money it is, I guess.
Yeah, I guess my question is if you spend $20 million on Ryan Peraluz,
yeah,
what happens?
You lose your money and he either pays off or doesn't.
He would have been one that was probably some sort of a bidding war. From Tony, it's a venture capital model. Some or most will fail.
Yeah.
But Craig nailed it perfectly. Tony Altamar, thanks for the chat.
Frankly, when you're these people who have this amount of money to be able to throw around like that, I mean, it's not like we're thinking about it much differently. You know what I mean? They're going to burn it on something. Might as well, burn it on your favorite football team if that's what you're looking at, rather than a new yacht or something along those lines.
TJ Harris, what if they offer a ludicrous amount like $100,000 per year, but make it payable after 3 or 4 years? Well, that was Mike Leach's idea. You could either be a student athlete or you can be a professional college player, and you pick one or the other. And if you stick to those guidelines at the end of the year, and again, he just threw out a number, if you were the student athlete, at the end of 4 years, you're done, you get $150,000 in your pocket. If you're a pro or you pick the pro side, you can get cut.
There'd be give and take, not just take.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I'll say this about SMU because I know we got to go. Good on them. I mean, they're seeing the opportunity and the door cracked open to go and make a big impact, and they just dunked on Tech in a roundabout way.
They've been laying in the weeds for 37 years.
They have. And, then they started to get better at football these last few years. The coaching staff's changed a little bit, but, have had some success and, have put some good players out there. I think, won some fun games. So I think that they see that there's a little bit of momentum, and you got Rhett Lashley in there now taking over for Sonny Dykes. Hopefully keep that momentum going. And it's obviously very fertile recruiting ground. Like you mentioned a year ago, Big 12 looked at them and stewed on him a little bit as far as an expansion candidate. Clearly the Pac-12 is probably at least kicking the tires on them. So they see the timing is it's now or never. Let's go all in and pony up, and kudos to them for doing that.
Literally pony up. Someone asked about what David Stanley